All right. It's a best of 3 here in the quarterfinals, and the return of the sexy boy in the upper left in the blue. His name is Rogue. Out of the bottom right in the red. At times, the best Protoss player in Korea. Not quite as strong recently, but strong enough just the same. It's Creator. Golden Aura for map number 1 in this setup. We saw this actually in the previous series. Rogue played stats. Rogue said, I'm going to go to Lurker late game. Well, I don't know that you can call Lurkers late game, but I'm going to go to the later mid game. I'm going to get Hive and Lurkers. I'm going to have this timing. And stats went up to Triple Stargate right around the same time. He saw what was happening. And Triple Stargate Carrier with +3 ground and Storm and everything else does beat Lurkers really convincingly. So it was really a matter of Rogue kind of losing out on the build order relay a little bit. Part of it was Stats doing a really nice job of scouting and understanding what exactly was happening. Which is really a kind of a, you know, that's very important. So for now, we're gonna see Lings go, and this probe is gonna get forced out. But you know, Rogue was forced to take his third base, or his natural at the third base, naturals, or the third base at the natural, you know, messes with things just a little bit. But this is a very quick Twilight coming out of Creator here, which generally means Glaze. And I like this out of Creator. We saw Stats go and say, yeah, Rogue, I'm gonna give you your late game. We're gonna play this late game PvZ. It's gonna be great. And you know, to be honest, Rogue is back from the military. He does not have, not everything is all that clean just yet. This is fair. This is expected. He's back from the military. You know, you're playing yourself back into shape. The fact that he's here in the top 4 in EPT Cup with guarantee, you know, he didn't have to. Well, no, he had an insane run. He had to take down Raynor. He had to take down Stats to get to this top 4. That's an insane run. It's a very good run already. But he still has weaknesses, right? There are still things that are maybe blind sides, things that are blind to him. Got blind spots. And we talked about Glaives. Not going to be the case. Creator, no, it's going to be Dark Shrine. So DT drops going to be the order of the day out of Creator in this game 1 of our series. And again, what I was saying though, I think holds water even still, where you get aggressive against the player newly returned. You show them wrinkles of builds that maybe they're not as familiar with. Because, you know, cheese always has different wrinkles to it. And more importantly, if you're going back, generally, you're basing this on how Rogue is playing this. You're probably going to be focusing on your macro game. First and foremost, you try to redevelop that one. And then you mix in some timing attacks and things like that. But for now, Rogue, he sees the Prism on the map immediately. Ling's well positioned for that one. Do we have any spores? First one getting started right now. Dark Shrine's already done. These should be complete just in enough time. Lings are going to get made. If I'm Rogue, though, I might think this is Glaives. Even still, Lings are going to get made to defend this. And Queen's on position in the high ground. Creator's going to try to warp in the main base, which means Queens are going to get damage done. Now everything is known. Right, Spores, first one's done. And I love what Creator's doing here. Now, the Spore is going to reposition to make sure this isn't really a thing, but he tried to wall off the natural or just make position on the natural so he could go and kill off a couple Lings before DT's found something. So we'll see. Meanwhile, third base, roughly halfway done. Overlord will fall, and 2 Archons, they do a ton of damage early on. But this third base, because Archons are on the other side of the map, and that is the only bit of army that exists here, this third base is going to get canceled. Nice moves there from Rogue. Identifies that, okay, well, you just committed a ton here on the other side of the map because you got 4 DTs. That's a lot of gas. That's all your warpins for the most part. I can run across the map and cancel your third base once. Can he get it a second time? Yes, he can. Big deal here coming out of Rogue in a game 1 of our series. Now, Archon drop on the other side, not getting a lot done. Yeah, maybe down. Oh, this Queen's dead. That's the start. Queen assassination's always wonderful because, well, the more Queens go down, the less anti-air that exists. There we go. Transfuses are going to be fine, but also it means less transfuses, means less injects, means less of all of these things that do matter quite a bit as the Zerg tries to scale themselves up into the mid game. Even still, Crater, third base, very heavily delayed. And what is Rogue's response to what's happening right now? It's a Spire. It's a Spire. And this is great against a Twilight opener like this. Well, yeah, against a Twilight opener like this, Spire is incredibly good. Yeah, Archons, they do bonus damage to mutas, and you got a magic box and whatever. Yeah, Blink Stalkers are kind of a stopgap solution to mutas, but let's be real. You get mutas, the army's just not mobile enough. Even 2 Archons and a Warp Prism are just not really mobile enough to handle the muta play, to dancing around all your 3 bases. And yeah, you know, life is a little bit harder here because this is a linear 3-base setup, not a triangular one. So it's a little bit harder to take advantage of cliffs and kind of bounce around bases. A little bit harder. You can't do the box quite as easily, but there's enough dead air space that you can certainly make stuff done. So Rogue has got a bunch of roaches just crossing his I's, dotting his T's. Crossing his T's, dotting his I's. Just making sure he's defensively set up. And seems like Crater, that's good, because Crater does want to get aggressive with this. This is Archons, Immortals, Sentries. There is a extremely aggressive follow-up, which I kind of like, right? First of all, it means that Rogue, he's got a bunch of minerals and gas in the bank here, but I say it's hard to spend it because you're worried about the attack, but he's not, apparently. 6 mutas are going to go on the way. Ideally, you get up to like at least 8. But 6 mutas are going to be that solid start as more roaches are getting added in as well. +1 flyer here. And the army that Crater is building is really strong. Tremendously strong. And this is not something where Rogue is really committing to mutiling, which is kind of what I expected. Actually, I thought he might just go for that and just like, okay, well, I'm going to pick your army off. And against that, I don't necessarily hate what or if Rogue went for that, I kind of would like it. But as it stands, he's got a bunch of roaches against Charge Lot Immortal Archon. And, well, actually, do we have charge? Yeah, okay, we do have charge. So against Charge Lot Immortal Archon, these mutas are just trying to harass a little bit. And with shield batteries and mineral lines, it's going to be really hard to get a lot of damage done. So, I mean, these mutas, this is just a waste of 600 gas at this point. Maybe more damage gets done later on. I don't know, but this is a waste of 600 gas. And Crater, this army, yeah, he's down, what, 30 odd army supply, but army value, I mean, look, he's up double the gas cost of this army. This army that Crater has been able to make is oppressive. And we talked about 6 mutas versus 8. 6 mutas, they one-shot workers, but they don't really splash as much. So with a shield battery, well, I mean, they splash, but with a shield battery right there, they don't really have that base annihilating power that 8 or 9 mutas do. So for now, Crater's moving up on the map here. He's knocking overlords down. Ling run by is going to try to get something done. Mutas are continuing to get, I talked about not really having that base on that mineral line annihilating power. Well, if they're undefended, the shield battery is poorly placed, they can still get damage done. Even still, this army from Crater looks untouchable. The 4th base is dead. Lings, they're going to kill a gateway, certainly, but drones are going to go down right now. And what exactly? 29 Banelings is going to be the answer. Okay. Rogue, supply block, 29 Banelings on the way, only on 3 bases. A 4th base getting set up somewhere else. 29 and Banelings, no Baneling speed, no +1. This is not... I mean, mutas have gotten a decent amount of damage. As much as I said, hey, they're not a mineral line annihilating force. It's 15 workers. Not horrible. But the bigger problem here is that, well, I just don't think Rogue can ever dislodge what it is that Crater has. I mean, maybe you get +1 Baneling speed, hit a big surround. I don't know. But more Ravagers adding in. Banelings in the back here. Again, you're just soaking space. But we need to see, Rogue needs to have part of this army on the low ground. Like, this really does need to be a surround getting set up. As mutas, again, they continue to be annoying, but 5 mutas now. I think one. Oh, no, it's still 6. Okay, but even still, this just doesn't represent a ton of threat. Cannons and mineral lines now as well. And now we're going to see Banelings run in just a little bit more. Now Biles are going to get dropped, killing off a couple Stalkers. Pretty nice. Banelings actually do a decent job of making connections on the squish units. Not on the Immortals, not on the Archons, but on the Zealots and things like that. So even still, that was a really nice fight for Rogue, all things considered. He knocked down a couple Archons, a couple Banelings. and didn't really lose a ton either. So he's gonna look to max out once again. Force field's on the low ground, setting up maybe a bit better of a concave. Bailing's trundle on forward. Splash damage on the Archons as much as they can. Rogue, if he takes this fight on the right side, yeah, there's a prism, but he can maybe chase down a lot of the tech of this army now. Left side, 2 Immortals, 2 Stalkers are firing very strong. Even still, Crater takes a decent amount of damage. 4th base gets taken down as well, so now Crater very much all in. So we're gonna see Archons get targeted down one at a time here. Biles continue to land. I love the defensive play out of Rogue. He's still maxed out. Now, he can still lose this. Down 50 supply, he can still absolutely lose this. But the Mutas, they're gonna show up even still. Archon or 1 Immortal will go down. Reinforcements starting to show up a little bit more. Not a lot of anti-air. Archon's mostly dead, and Rogue slow rolled this tremendously well. Yeah, there's another warp in. This is gone. Crater is dead. We're gonna see Biles go down, kill the Prism. This was well handled by Rogue, even with everything else. He slow rolled it, built an army, and killed the 4th base, forced Creator to go all in game 1. Goes the way of Creator, or goes the way of Rogue, excuse me. So game 1, we saw Creator go for DT drops. Didn't work out very well at all. Got nothing done. And that meant Rogue was able to go and macro up quite a bit and go from there. And then he went mutas, and I was talking about in game, I don't like the 6 muta play as much as I like a much heavier muta play. I mean, 6 mutas can be anymore. Honestly, you know, as much as I say I didn't like it, Dark got about 20 workers and did a really nice job of slowing his opponent down, but you know, I guess it worked out, so I can't really complain. But I do tend to prefer the more Dark style of, I'm gonna get like 20 mutas, and I'm gonna turn this into a base trade. I'm gonna get heavily upgraded lings. I'm gonna tear you apart, which I think works out well. Maybe it doesn't, right? Because it's a bunch of Immortals and Archons, and if you do that, you're not gonna be able to tear. You don't have the timing to tear your opponent apart. You don't have the. He just runs across the map and kills you, and you can never fight it. So maybe I don't, or maybe I like it even more. You know, gotta trust the person. Gotta trust the pros on this one. Regardless, it's gonna be a Stargate opener from Creator in this second game in our series, which makes a little bit more sense. Or not more sense, but it is a little bit more standard, right? Game 1, DT drops are very much out of meta. Really, anything Twilight opener is out of the meta. It means you have to get damage done, whereas with Oracle play, A, you're almost guaranteed to get damage done, and B, you don't necessarily have to as much. Now, Triple Oracle wants to get a couple drones, otherwise it does feel a little bit behind, but again, you get map control, you get vision, you get scouting, you can build a more stable mid-game setup. There are many reasons. Ling goes down, but actually a lot of mining time lost there from Creator to make that happen. So now we're going to see Rogue do what he did in the previous game, which is, look, I'm going to go and try to cancel this base. And he did a really nice job of it in game 1. He canceled it twice. But there's no probe on the map. Oh, this is perfect timing. Perfect timing here. Probe, you know, now he would obviously prefer to cancel or kill. That would be even better as Adepts get in. Drones are starting to fall down here on the other side. 3 workers go down. That's something. And 4 workers going down here to the... Oh, it's going to get in the main base too. So, yes, we talked about how good it was for Rogue that he went and he denied the 3rd base. Yeah, absolutely. He just got 6 drones for 2 Adepts. 7 drones for 2 Adepts. That's really good. And these Lings are not going to be able to deny this 3rd base. It's too much HP for too few Lings and the Adepts there as well. It's not going to work out. So, Creator is in a tremendous spot in this game that we're looking at right now. Now, Ling's getting on top of Stalker. You'd love to see that one, actually. Adepts are going to move out of the line as well. And this is starting to become a problem for Creator. All of a sudden, we're going to see the Pylon go down, maybe. Probe go down. Oracle has to join the fray, and that's going to force the Lings out. And does this make up for the damage that Rogue has taken? No, it doesn't. Not at all. But what it does mean is it's making life just a little bit more complicated. Oracle's diving into the main base as well. 5, 6 more workers are going to go down here. Creator answering a slap with a hammer blow. 7 more drones, 14 dead. And yeah, Stalkers have died. Yes, absolutely. Adepts have died. A Pylon has died. Sure. This is 15 dead workers. This is far more significant than any damage that Rogue has done. And he's just going to be behind in this game number 2. He's going to have to sit there and macro up and play defensively and have a little bit less agency on the map, because any unit he makes from here on out, it's not a drone. It slows him down significantly. Slows him down tremendously. So again, I love how active Rogue's being with these links. It shows you just how good he is, right? Even back from the military, he's gonna get a drone or two. You love to see that, but 6 more drones went down on the other side. It's 21 dead. This is just one of those games where you get behind, so you try to cut corners. I mean, at least an Oracle died, there's that, but one of those, you're behind, so you try to cut corners, which means you take more damage because your opponent knows you're trying to cut corners. And yeah, it feels really hard. It feels very hard here for Rogue to do anything. Again, it's 6 minutes and 30 seconds into this game, and the Protoss player is still up on workers. Which means the 4th base is going to have to be much delayed for Rogue, which means... okay, so he's got a Roach Den, Roach Warren and a Hydra Den on the way. Does he just try to hit a Roach Hydra timing to bust the 4th base? I think that's... You can't go straight Hive here. You will not have the time. Creator will bust you. Well, first of all, Creator is a Protoss player that's much more willing to be active on the map and be aggressive on the map than say Stats is. And also, he knows how much damage he's done. He's aware of what he's been able to get done in this game. If he scouts the Hive, he's like, no, Ro, you cannot afford all of this. I'm going to run across the map. I'm going to get a lot of stuff, and I'm going to kill you. So that cannot happen. But for now, Hydras are on the way. A decent army from Creator in the middle of the map. Blink is done. +1's not done just yet, as an Overlord gets sniped Rogue on the edge of being supply blocked, and he's got that Infestation Pit on the way. He's going to try to do it anyways. I don't know that Creator's going to let this happen. Now, granted, second Robo Bay on the way. So maybe the timing will be there after all. Maybe Creator lets Rogue get to the Hive at the very least, because, well, he wants his own level 2 tech. He wants his own Colossus, 4 of them, and hitting that timing, which, yeah, fair. And the second thing we got to talk about is now, well, Infestation Pit is done. Oracles are getting even... Oh, God, this hurts. Oh, you stack. Yeah, 12 more workers go down. Now, it's only 2 Oracles on the map. He did rebuild one of them. And, sure, one might argue, well, losing that Oracle feels really bad. Lurkers are going to be on the way. Well, there's just 33 dead drones. Yeah, that is, not good. And the thing... Oh, even more damage. Oracles dives in, gets 2 more workers on the bottom side. I cannot believe Creator's getting away with this. This is wild. So now Stalkers are going to try to show up the north side. You know, attacking into Hydraling. Well, actually, this is not a lot of Hydraling. I feel like Stalkers could take a fight there for a little bit. But the problem that I want to talk about that becomes extremely relevant as we move forward here, 1 Lurker gets sniped down as well, is that there are soon going to be 4 Colossus on the map. Right now, 2 very quickly. Eventually, there are going to be 2 more, and that's the timing you're really looking to hit, or maybe 3 in a Prism. Looks like that's going to be closer because Creator understands just how far ahead he is. Hive is done right now. There are Colossus on the map. Vipers are going to get started here. Seismic Spine's on the way. Viper or Lurkers can be good against Colossus once Seismic Spines is done. What I was going to say is I think Creator can hit a timing before that is true, before that's ready to go. But for now, I mean, Rogue is just batting down the hatches. He's doing a very nice job of playing defensively here. He's got Spores at the front, so it's really hard for there to be any detection short of an Oracle. Random observers going forward doesn't really get a lot done. In fact, no observers left on the map anymore. They've all been sniped down. Seismic Spine's about halfway done. Viper is complete. It's getting... Where is this Viper? It's getting energy right near the front line. So this is a reasonable defense for Rogue. It's going to be really hard for a Creator to break it down. So I think Creator's recognized that this is true. So he's got Storm on the way. Sure, fine, but Fleet Beacon getting at it in. 5th base on the way. So that's going to be how Creator wants to play this. Slow rolling it just a little bit more. But the question that we ask ourselves now is, okay, so Fleet Beacon's done. Single Stargate, though. No +1 air on the way. Is this just for a mothership? As by the way, the fleet beacon has been scattered out. The lack of Stargates has been roughly, Stargates could be elsewhere, but has been roughly scattered out. As we're going to see Stalkers blink forward, get an Overseer, but Stalkers do heavy damage, or take heavy damage to the Lurkers. And what is this fleet beacon for? That's the question I'm asking myself right now. Because nothing has been made as Lings or Stalkers blink forward, knock down a couple Lurkers. So Creator's doing a really nice job of trading. He's doing a really nice job of just taking down a couple Lings here, a couple Lurkers there, but Nidus is now done. There's the mothership. That's where life gets a little bit more complicated, right? The mothership cloaking actually can be worth quite a bit. It gives you maneuverability as well to go and get that recall, and of course cheaper than it used to be. But this Roach Hydra Ball will beat the Stalkers. +2 versus +1. They just have to run away. So now Creator's a little bit complicated of a position, right? He's got this army. He's got this single very weird army on the left side. Nidus tries to pop up at the main base. Not going to get a lot done. But Prism Speed is done. So Gravitic Drive is there. The counterattack run-by potential is absolutely a thing. Storm gets dropped. Sure. Roaches and Hydras on the right side are going to have to back up. Creator's not going to get that 5th base. And now here come the Lurkers on the high. There's a lot of Lurkers on the high ground. Stalkers are going to try to knock the Nidus down. Not going to be able to do so for the time being. A Storm doesn't really get a lot. Lings on the north side here. Do we have Adrenal? I think they do. So they're going to start to wail away on this 5th base. And Rogue, he's hitting this timing. Storms, again, they're very good. But he's hitting this timing before the mothership's ready, before the next level of tech of Dark is properly ready. Mothership's out now, but it's defending the main base from the Overseer. And this is okay. This is a weird fight. Creator's going to try to go for a big surround. Storms on top of a bunch of those Warfing Lurkers, so they're not really there. But he's now going to try to go for a base trade because there's no Nidus to go get you out of this. And Rogue drops one immediately. He's got to get back home because there's an army on his doorstep. But this is not the easiest thing. There's a mothership. It pops cloaking, but actually there's no detection here. There's no Overseer. Creator, really nice base trade scenario. Okay, so actually the Nidus is not even going to be retreat back home anymore. It's going to get targeted down. You pop in the Nidus at this point, it's a problem. It's a one-way ticket. So Lurkers are just going to have to run home. The third base of Creator is dead. 4th base should die soon enough. The main base, or the natural, should die soon enough here. Question is whether Rogue can get enough on the reinforcements to really make this defense happen. Lurkers are going to try to burrow up on top. Storms go on top of that everything. And you need these Lurkers to defend. I mean, a lot of Stalkers are going down. The damage is starting to add up just a little bit. Roaches need to target the Colossus down, though. They're not really doing so at the moment. The drone pull is doing a really nice job. So Colossus are starting to fall. Bases go down here. Got to get on top of this Colossus. Roaches have to kill this off. Archons will go down. What are we looking at composition-wise? Yeah, it's not enough. Rogue caught out, sectioned off in the middle of the map, and at the end of the day, Creator got tons of workers far too early on. Ties it up, though. We move to game 3. So it's going to be, single gate expand out of Creator. Going to go block the main base and go from there. Now, so game 1, we saw Rogue go and really do a nice defense against an aggressive option. Didn't take any damage. Got 6 mutas, and again, I think 6 mutas is a questionable number, but he made it work. One-shotting workers is always going to be very nice. You kind of want to be able to go through shield battery a little bit better with your glaive bounces. But anyways, knocks it down, gets 15 workers, holds on defensively, builds this army of just mass Ravager Ling Bane that just gets enough biles, that handles the Immortal Archon, wins the game. Game 2, he goes and he takes far too much damage from Oracles and Adepts. Like, I'm talking 30 workers before the 6-minute mark. Just insane, absolutely insane amounts of damage. And then it's like, okay, I gotta win this game somehow. And he goes for this Lurker timing, and it almost works. But Creator realizes that, yeah, if you're on the other side of the map, I can just run around you, and I have a better army. If you're not situated in place, I'm gonna have more bases. You have to make something happen. So he just goes and goes from there. Runs across the map, makes the base trade work, and Rogue couldn't get his army back home. Could not get his army back home, which means that at the end of the day, Creator won game 2, and now going to Stargate game 3. I think given how disastrous the Twilight game was and game 1 was, and how incredible the Stargate game 2 was, it is makes sense that he's going the way that he's gonna go in this game. It just, otherwise you're you're leaving 31 drones on the table. Now I do expect Rogue to have a bit better of a defense in game 3. I do expect him to defend this a lot better. It's just one of those things where when it starts to snowball, sometimes you just can't stop the snowball. Really can't stop the snowball. So for now, we should see the third base on the way. Next 45 seconds is, again, Rogue is... This is his algorithm for how he wants to play. It's going to be... How many lings does he have? 10 lings on the other side of the map, canceling the third base once again. He knows the timing, 3:45. And again, he's gonna get the probe this time, so it should be yeah, he's gonna get the probe. Well, maybe, yeah, he gets it. And now he's beelining. He's like, okay, I understand what happened here. I now got to run on the other side of the map because the depths are gonna shade into my main base, look to attack into my third base. 2 queens are here. Drones have to get pulled away. Last time he lost 5 workers. This is how the snowball started. This time lings are gonna get back. Still 4 workers are gonna go down. Still 4 workers go down. Oracle's into the third base, though. Stasis trap on the Oracle, on the drones and the queen. 7 drones go down. Already it's a bit of a disaster. Yes, third base got delayed a little bit, tiny bit. 7 workers, and by the way, half the workers at the third base are stasis. A queen is stasis. Again, I understand why Rogue wants to go for this time. He's gonna not be able to force a second cancel. Forcing a cancel is great, but not having those lings defensively at home means adepts can go and get 4 workers on their lonesome and force you to be separated in a way that you don't want, which means oracles get more damage done. And in the balance of things, it's just not worth it for Rogue. Not at all. Now, a fairly quick robo coming out of here, out of Creator as well, even before the Twilight. So this may be some kind of gateway tech aggression follow-up, where he's like, look, I got damage done. Maybe I can get more. Maybe I can kind of get you caught off guard. Most likely, though, it's going to be for, observers, a prism, some harassment level play. But again, this is generally when you go oracles into something, it's oracle into Twilight. You get +1. And actually, what are we at oracles? Why? He did get 3. Now on 2. But okay, again, this very quick robo is, the more I look at it, and the lack of tech is getting a little bit more surprising. So we saw a robo briefly on production. Not there anymore. Now it's going to be a prism. So I guess this is just going to be coming out of Creator, kind of 3-gate harassment, warping a couple of depths in some random spots and be annoying with it, and then go into Twilight, into +1, and all of these other things. And for now, there's a lot of adepts. Now, there's no glaives, but it's a lot of adepts here. So there's going to be the wall. Rogue actually had to kill a creep tumor to make sure he could get that wall. Drones have to get pulled away. Oracles are going to look to feast. 2 workers go down for the moment. Stasis trap is not going to go down in time. 5 drones are dead, but this is enough of a commitment here from Creator, where if a lot of these adepts go down, losing those 6 workers, actually not that big of a deal, but you got to kill the adepts. You have to be able to punish them for what they're doing, and for right now, he hasn't been able to do so. 4th base done, and it just losing an oracle doesn't feel great. But Rogue, oh yeah, Creator doesn't complete this. For now, Creator has gotten away with this, and well, there are no roaches on the map. Roach speed is on the way, but there are no roaches on the map. Now he's making a couple more, as he's pretty close to being supply blocked. We got more overlords on the way, so that is gonna be fine. And again, Hydra Den, Lurker, or Infestation Pit. It's gonna be for that late game. Come hell or high water, Rogue knows how he wants to play this game. He does not want to play on mid game. He wants that hive. He wants that hive. He wants Lurker range, whatever it is. Now Oracle's gonna try to kill a queen. It's potentially another dead Oracle. Not gonna quite go down, but still heavy damage on the Oracle, which means it's less powerful of an offensive tool. Only 2 on the map right now. A Phoenix was made as well, which is a bit odd. These Zealots are going to try to be annoying, but they don't have +1. Lings get a full surrounded. Almost a full surrounded. It's going to be fine. So, Storm on the way. Charge on the way. +1. Immortals. No blink. Nothing like that. Just building this really powerful, immortal, charged Lot Archon army. And Rogue, again, yeah, he's taken damage. 14 workers is about 7 or 8 more than you would really like to lose. 6 drones, 6 to 8 drones going down is against triple Oracle is kind of standard. But remember also, Creator did build a ton of adepts. He's got, how many on the map right now? He's got 10 adepts on the map right now. He built a couple more. And building this number, oh, that's very, very nice. No storm from those 2 High Temple. In fact, the Archon just going to go down as well. So what is that? 300 gas down the bank, down the drain. That's a pretty big deal. That's only 4 High Templar instead of 6. Only 4 storms instead of 6. That actually can make, if you're looking to go for an aggressive option, that can make a big difference on either side, realistically. But anyways, Rogue, Lurker Den down, Hive on the way. He's doing the Lurker thing. And again, this can go both ways. We talked about how Immortals and Storm and Charge is a really strong composition. A lot of Zerg players are saying, hey, this is really hard to deal with. This is tremendously hard to deal with. And that's fair. Immortals are really strong. But you get up to like 20 Lurkers, it can be hard to work through. If you get to the point where Lurkers are effectively one-shotting Immortals, it becomes a little bit more difficult. A little bit harder as a couple of Adepts find their way in. Hey, 4 more drones go down. Now at this point, 4 drones is cheap. Cheaper to replace. You don't want to, obviously. It's 200 minerals, but yeah, you're fine. You're going to be okay. So Lurker Den, or Lurker Den's done, but Seismic Spine's just about halfway done. Adrenal on the way. And Rogue, again, he's very happy with how this game is going. He lost, well, not happy, I guess, but much happier than game number 2. He's lost a couple workers, but at the end of the day, it's going to be fine. And he's going to max out first. He's going to have, I think we're going to see an attack probably with +2 and Lurker Burrow, maybe? Maybe that's going to be the play. Maybe he decides to play defensively just the entire time. I don't know. But these random adepts, they're just being annoying. They're going to get a drone. Lings are going to pop out, but these are +0 Lings. They don't have Adrenal just yet, so I really like this harassment coming out of Creator, by the way. It's just tiny amounts of stuff. He's got Adepts that have to pull drones, so 10 workers to go to 12 workers go down right there. Maybe 10 workers go down. Zealots are going to get a couple more left side. Warp into the main base as well, trying to get a little bit more. This is 20 workers down all of a sudden, and it just started with 2 Adepts and 2 Zealots. All of a sudden, tons of economic damage done. Queen's gonna get the prism, maybe. Will go down, but the Zealots, they get their warp in anyways. And now all of a sudden, Rogue, we talked about move outs. We talked about how happy he is and how, yeah, he's taking some damage, but it's mostly okay. All of a sudden, there's 37 dead workers, and Rogue is much less happy about this game. In fairness, though, what this also means is his army is very strong. It's 130 supply. He's only on 69 workers. He's got a ton of lurkers here. And Stay Strapped's going to get 3 of them, so that push will be delayed. Now, a couple things are going to section off just a little bit more. Now, this is an attack that can be rather spicy. Storms, oh, coming in from the backside. Look at that coming out of Creator. Storms are massive. And again, these lurkers, only some of them can fight right now, and the rest of this army is incredibly soft. And so revealed as well. I don't like this move out from Rogue. He is surrounded. He's between a rock and a hard place. Everything is so low. This is not good. This is a problem that Rogue is. I mean, he's going to try to run up the gullet again, but he's got armies on both sides. The lurkers are tremendously. I don't know what you're supposed to do there, but I think die is the answer. Creator is given the storms for free. Immortals, yeah, some of them are going down, certainly, but lurkers are dying just the same. Run bys, 7 workers have died. The zealots are gonna, the queens are gonna go down. Rogue went for this lurker timing and did it just about the worst way possible. And if this game goes on, it's gonna be because Creator lets the game go on. Maybe he wants to get a little bit more tech, but yeah, this is after Rogue played pretty well game 1. Bit of an anticlimactic ending. You run into the Valley of Death. They write poems about it. Rogue had his charge of the light brigade ready to go, but unfortunately that truly was the Valley of Death. 300 did ride, or the 500. There we go. The 500 did ride, and they got slaughtered. This is exactly what happened. So Rogue gonna try to remax again, building more Hydras, building more lurkers, getting Carapace to give himself some maybe potential answer against these against the carriers. And hey, it's only one Stargate, so single carrier getting made is not all that quick. And I guess Creator's gonna let Rogue max out again, and with this game will continue. Rogue has lost a lot. He's lost a tremendous amount. But the game will go on. So I guess that's fine. I guess more Stargates getting added in. +2 attack, blink TTs, all that wonderful stuff. I gotta say, I'm a little surprised that Rogue was allowed to remax once again, because again, it's one of those things where he took the worst fight possible. It really took the worst fight possible. If he can take this front to back, Ling's getting on top of High Templar and knocking one of them down. This is still a winnable game for him. He can still win fights. Absolutely can. And actually, the Templar Archives is going to go down. So no more High Templar, no more Archons, no more Storm. Creator looking for the counterattack here. But there's enough detection at the moment. The army is separated enough that I don't think this works. Now, DT's kill 6. Rogue has lost 16 more workers, folks. That is a problem. Oh, those storms are going to be a lot bigger as well. So there is that. Is Rogue's kind of all in. He's going to lose this base. Zealots are going to knock it down. DT's into the natural. So you want to talk about weaknesses. You want to talk about where Rogue has returned to form, or Rogue has not returned to form. Because I think it's important to talk about at this point. Rogue, his army control, his kind of understanding of the game, fantastic. His reads on the game seem to be really good. Multitasking is not there yet, though. His defensive acumen, not really there yet. So we've seen 2 straight games where Rogue has, for the game state, taken far too much economic losses. And yeah, he's just about maxed out. This is his last army. He's got an absolute ton of, it's 19 lurkers. This is, we talked about that magic, I don't know if the 19 or 20 is a magic number, but we talked about that 19 or 20 lurker number where they really start to make it hard for a ground army, a ground Protoss army to fight. We're there. We absolutely are there, but I don't know that Creator necessarily gives him that fight, because he's been so good at counterattacking, so good at setting up the flanks. That's a massive stasis trap once again. And because Rogue is very all in, yeah, so Rogue's super all in. He's got to get a lot done. Creator has 2 recalls. He's got the Prism recall. He has a recall back to his Nexus, and Creator has more bases. That's really going to be the big deal right there. So lurkers are going to try to burrow up. Only part of them really in this fight. Now there's detection here. Storms are going to go down. Zealots get more damage done. Yeah, High Templar are taking lurker spines, and that's not really what you want. But Rogue is tremendously dead. And Creator, he gets his final shot against someone. We're going to find out exactly who it is. But Rogue looks good. Multitasking not quite there, though. Not yet. And Creator moves on to the finals.